Circumstances at home?
No, there were
Or
no
because of
circumstances. My
choices?
parent liked education,
Yeah.
but all of my siblings did not like it. They drop out.
So this is...
They all drop out, you know.
Yeah.
And my mother said, she was depressed because I said, I'm a kitchen girl. It means my children now are going to be domestic workers like myself. And then, you know, they don't want to see what I saw, even if my mother never went to school because she was an orphan, right? And my father, maybe he left when he was doing standard 4 years. My father is an old man of 1936. So at that time, the education was not that much. But they were having the willingness to see graduates in the family. And the graduate could not born until I accepted that let us leave things like that. And that's how I got my matric. And I was the first person at home to get that matric, who matriculated. And even after, yes, my parents were late, both of them. But I insisted. At home, they said, no, it's enough. You are enough now with your matric. I didn't even tell them when I was going to Durban, Westfield, because I know that they were attitude and they were saying, no, now we don't have money and you will need clothes, you will need this. We cannot afford. We are working as a domestic workers, you know. And I said, no, okay, I'm just going to Zamoguhle, where I was schooling in Eastern Cape in Bizana. I'm going to just collect my statement of results. On my arrival there, I decided, I said, the principal motivated me, Mr. Son. I said, I cannot even give you the opportunity to be a teacher aide in this school, as I used to do with other disabled. I'm from a school where our teachers mostly were disabled. So, and they were given an opportunity after the matric. But he said, no, you have to go to Durban Westfield. You go there. And then that was a secret. I didn't tell them. And they started to look for me 3 months down the line at home. When my grandmother, who was a mother to my father, passed away, they wanted to tell me. When they phoned at school and asked the principal, she went there, she was collecting her statement of results. What happens to her now? Because there's an incident at home. Said, no, she's been there at Durban Westfield. And my sister, when she was looking for me, an elder, she found me by a switchboard operator. Fortunately, the person knew me. So Bulela is here, studying here. And then we tried to communicate because I was afraid to inform them now that no, I differ with their decision. Now I am at Durban Westfield.
But this is exactly what I'm saying to you. That you've always had to make hard choices on your own.
Yes, I remember that time because my mother, when she died, there were like money, like around 10,000. Then I utilized all of that money to pay for my fees. And I realized I was having nothing to eat when I was now at to university. To complete her degree, was graduating this year through my initiative, through my empowering him. I said, no, you won't be there. You have to go far, even if at home, as you know, people who are working in those jobs, they will feel like, now you have completed, you can find a job in one of the factories. I said, no.
You are trying to tell me that you come from a family which at one point in time felt you did not have to continue with your education.
Yeah.
And today you have gone back to that family and educated a child.
Yes, now he has a BCom in marketing through my support. And he's doing his honors in BCom now. He is in BCom in economics.
You know, Bulelo, it's not every day that we are blessed with a moment to sit with a person of character. And I must say thank you very much for sitting with us today to discuss your nature and character. It's an inspiration to all of us, and we sure hope to see you rising towards the biggest of your dreams, which is a diplomatic posting around the world. Ngiyabonga ma. Let us understand.
Everyone has the story to tell.
Everyone has the story to tell.
Thank
I
you.
guess tonight I will have a story to tell. I was with Bulelo Mbolelwa, ladies and gentlemen, out. Thank you.
The Tribunes.
Sebenzile Matsebula, a beauty, paraplegic, yet still knowing what it takes to stand up and be counted amongst the rest. Sebenzile is executive chairperson of Divuseni Trading and Investment. She evaluated the first African decade of persons with disabilities for the African Union, has conducted research to inform development of policies to mainstream disability and uphold human rights of people with disabilities in our world. It is Sebenzile that has assisted South Africa with ensuring that whatever we do to improve the status of people with disabilities is firmly anchored on results that have been researched and evaluated in such a way that all of us know exactly what to do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Premier, no mama, all protocol observed. Wow, what an evening. This has been an amazing journey. And I think just saying thank you, I don't think it does justice to the experience, the gratitude, the joy that we felt since we arrived in this beautiful province of KZN. As we left the airport, kuhamba ofingo pambili, I SMS my children, ngati boys, I'm in a police escort, blue light, mama for real. And I'm talking about big men, 27 and 23, for real. Ngithi yebo, yimi loyo. It was absolutely so unexpected, and all the time we've been here, we have been treated just like royalty, and indeed felt that we are in a kingdom. Siyabonga kakhulu. My particular life, my particular journey has been one that has happened because of people, that have made things happen for me. Premier took the words right out of my mouth. It is family, number one, that makes things happen. My late parents, wherever they are, hopefully in heaven. Umama Phakathi is from this province, Ntombi yaKwaZulu. Bakhona abakubo abakwaPhakathi. Ukhethile noThula ngocela niphakame just quickly, just to honor them. Ngicela bashayele izandla bakithi. These are the people who have made my life be the life it has been. And indeed, my own immediate family, my two beautiful boys, Umpendulo noThando. And through them, I have been inspired to fight and go through a journey that has not been easy. I'm very emotional, but I'll try not to be emotional tonight. A very, very difficult journey. I'm one of the veterans. From way back in the day, when disability was, when fighting the struggle was really fighting the struggle. But I think it's what built our character to who we are and what we are now. And now we're in a democratic state which has even given us even more opportunities. The opportunities that I have are because they were created by this very government. I've done a lot of work in my consulting business. I've been able to undertake studies that want to unpack why is it that our disabled people in residential facilities are having such challenges. I've been able to unpack issues of why is it that blind people and people who have visual impairments struggle to access reading through Braille facilities. I've been able to help the Manning Qualifications Authority understand how they can support the very disabled people that they create. You will understand that the mining sector is one of the major contributors of disability in this country. And they've said to me, Sebenzile, come and make us understand why is it that when we then end up having disabled people. We then send them home to the villages to die. And we've been able to help them work out a strategy of how to then empower those very people that they made disabled in the first place to make them more productive to our economy. It's been an absolutely amazing journey to a point where I've been very privileged to have been nominated to serve on the committee that will be monitoring the implementation on the Convention on the Rights of Disabled People. I take this particular nomination very, very seriously. I know we still have a journey to go through when we get to New York in September, but I trust that our allies throughout the world will support South Africa in their candidacy. I just want to say to all parents, to all sisters, to all brothers who have a person with a disability in the family, just realize that you actually have a gem. Nayazi diamond le kipha ekhishwa phasi. Iphuma iyitshe, the most ugly stone you can imagine. But somebody needs to apply time, give themselves time to polish that stone. And then you have something that for some reason women believe is everything. If you give a woman a diamond ring, they're not umtanda forever. Whether it's true or not, it's another story. But my message is, it's a stone that was ugly, taken somewhere, polished. That is what a life of a person with a disability is about. Take a person with a disability, identify the potential, give them the opportunities. It's not going to happen overnight. You need to walk the journey with them. And those for us who are now in these privileged positions, we need to extend a hand and make sure we reach out to other young people with disabilities and grow them to be able to contribute to the growth of this beautiful country. I thank you all.
Sebenzile, this is what I want to know from you. Here you are today for tributes. And as a person that has worked internationally, how do you think KwaZulu-Natal or South Africa can take this concept to the world?
I think for me the concept is an amazing way of promoting abilities of women with disabilities. Surely there must be many, many ways and avenues of doing it. I think first of all it would be to promote it amongst the corporate sector, because I think a venture of this nature would require a lot of capitalization, but at the same time it's also about promoting whichever company wants to promote it. So for me it would be a win-win situation. The concept needs to be captured in a way that it can then be sold worldwide, that this is the kind of venture that every country, every government, every nation can do to recognize and honor women with disabilities who in the mainstream are very, very much ignored, and yet they have the potential and ability to contribute to the development of every nation. Because as we all know, women are the nurturers and they are the ones that build nations. Now the fact that I sit on a wheelchair does not negate the fact that I'm a nurturer, I'm a mother. I can grow, I can contribute to the development of the nation.
Yes, well, I guess it's very easy for you to talk about nations, given that you have even worked with the United Nations on a number of assignments, one of them being to give a platform and a foundation to some of the rights that are enjoyed by people with disabilities internationally. Tell me about that.
Well, when we started off, when the concept first came on board in 2001, and there was a consultation in Mexico.
And the concept being?
The development of a convention on the rights of disabled people. When the concept started, there was an informal meeting hosted by the government of Mexico. And at that meeting, South Africa immediately promoted the concept. Because what happens with UN processes is that a government has to first motivate for it, and then another government has to second it at the United Nations level. So once Mexico motivated, South Africa immediately seconded the motion, and then the United Nations took up the concept and then started a process through what they called an ad hoc committee to develop the Convention on the Rights of Disabled Persons. It was an amazing time, because it was time that people with disabilities had to have a convention that would be directly relevant to their needs, and it was a timeless opportunity for the UN to then adopt that motivation. And for me personally and professionally, it was one of the most exciting times. First of all, I had to learn the goings on at the United Nations, and the fact that when a nation speaks, it's about the recognition that that country has at the UN platform on a particular subject. And what I discovered to my pride and joy was that South Africa on the world platform is highly recognized and respected when it comes to issues on the rights of disabled persons. So each time that South Africa put up the hand to say we want to make a presentation to the forum, the room would go totally silent, because they'd want to hear what South Africa has to say.
You know, that's true. Another person is going to always complain about say, we are very good with things on paper, but in practice, where exactly are we? But my question to you is going to be, if we're so good on paper, what can South Africans, particularly those with a disability, do to assist in making these theories practical?
I think it's very important for disabled people on the ground to be proactive, and instead of complaining all the time, taking up the opportunities that are there in South Africa and using them to their advantages. The policies are there, the regulations are there. We acknowledge the fact that the implementation of those policies is still very, very weak. However, we as disabled people also need to take the responsibility to do something about them. I mean, it's pointless for us knowing that there are policies that protect our rights, and yet when there's an issue where we are discriminated against, we simply go and lock ourselves in our rooms and cry and moan and complain, because it's not going to change the situation.
Just listening to what you are saying, and sorry to cut you short, we are also a country that is known with its, what do they call it, grant system. Would you say the grant system has also, granted it has assisted in terms of those little cents that an individual can say, at least at the end of the month I can buy 1, 2, 3. But do you think we're becoming too much of a grant society, particularly the vulnerable groups of our population?
Well,
and does that have implications on our ability to rise above our own limitations and be proactive?
Well, I must be honest and say that whilst the social security system is important for individuals who are very, very indigent, who are unable to do much for themselves, for somebody who has the potential to be able to rise above their circumstances and do something, it is actually a drawback, because it's very easy for an individual to say, you know what, I'm not going to be hassled by having to get up in the morning and fighting the taxis who don't want to take my wheelchair and getting to work, because after all I'm going to get my disability grant. So that in itself kills the fighting spirit. That individual, the only challenge is being able to get to work. They can actually be employed because employers are looking to employ disabled people, but it's easier for people who feel
to fall back on the
precisely. Let me rather stay home and get my grant, not realizing that they're actually destroying themselves and missing out on opportunities, because you never grow from receiving a disability grant.
And where to from here?
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward.
I think I was expecting something like that coming from you, the Lady United Nations.
Yes. I'm so looking forward to the elections in September. God willing, that will go well, and it would be a great opportunity for South Africa to be represented at an international platform, to be able to now monitor how that convention for disabled people is going to be implemented. So these are elections with
United Nations?
Yes, in September.
And what position are you gunning for?
I am looking at becoming a member of the committee that
Yeah.
has been set up by the United Nations
Yeah.
to implement, to look at the implementation, to monitor the implementation
Yeah.
of the Convention on the Rights
What
of
can we
Disabled
do?
Persons.
Yeah.
The most important
Thumbs.
thing is
Yeah.
lobbying.
Yes.
Lobbying. A lot of people in South Africa have contacts overseas because the elections are going to be done by governments who are members of the United Nations. So it's really about communicating with peers and partners worldwide to say, please make sure you know your government elects our candidate, the South African candidate, onto the committee. I'm really looking forward to that.
Thank you very much
Thank
to
you.
you. So it's an honor talking to
Thank
you,
you.
Mama. And
Thank you.
congratulations for being
Thank
a
you.
tribune.
Much appreciated.
Ngiyabonga.
Thank you for the honor.
Sebenzile Matsebula, ladies and gentlemen. Lady United Nations as we have come to call her now. Thank you.
Thank you for
Ngiyabonga,
all the
Mama.
best.
Beautiful
Okay.
stuff.
Thank you.
The Tribunes.
Sherry Breinant, a 30-year-old that has demonstrated to the world that Down syndrome can never be a barrier towards us achieving the best results if we simply want to. Sherry has set new boundaries for people with Down syndrome, a qualified assistant teacher and international motivational speaker. She is the first and only person with Down syndrome in SA and the whole world to receive a tertiary qualification, a chosen international ambassador for people with Down syndrome. It is up to every one of us, if we believe, to stand up and acknowledge this milestone. Let us put our hands together and allow Sherry to come forward and tell us what it takes to be the best in a world where people do not necessarily believe you could ever be.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this great honor. To the organizers and judges, a special word of thanks. As you can see, I am a person with Down syndrome, of which I am very proud. This means that I have one extra chromosome in every cell in my body. My mother has tried to explain to me what that means, but you will have to ask her if you don't understand how it happens. All I know is this is a genetic disorder, and it is not hereditary in most cases. The condition is called trisomy 21. I know I have an extra chromosome, but dear ladies and gentlemen, most of us have problem situations from time to time. I am lucky that my problem has a name. The philosophy that helped Nelson Mandela to survive 27 years in jail was the following phrase: "You are the master of your destiny, and you are also the captain of your soul." We must all take responsibility for who we are and not hide behind other reasons we can think of to feel sorry for ourselves or to explain why we are not what we want to be. Please join me to strive to become the person we want to be. Forget about failures of the past and start focusing on the future. One of the highlights of my life was when I was chosen as Woman of the Year for the category Youth Movers this year. There were many wonderful women who have made our country proud. I was among these people. Me, a girl with Down syndrome. a condition which made people abort their babies and lock them in institutions or at the back of their homes so that other people cannot see them. I'm standing here tonight to try to change these perceptions about us. Ladies and gentlemen, we deserve to live. And we can have a full life. And we can even make a difference in people's lives. Ladies and gentlemen, we must all be proud of who we are. Life has happiness and sadness. But it depends on us what we do with our lives. Success is measured against oneself. Never compare you to others. Make the most of your opportunities and know that the Lord made us all special. Be thankful for normal intelligence and know that the Lord will always look after you if you work hard and trust in Him. A world-famous pianist once said that there is no such thing as a false note. Some notes may sound false to us, but in reality, it just sounds different. Ladies and gentlemen, please give people with disabilities the opportunities to be proud of their differences. My dream is for South Africa to become a country where the general population respects, encourages, and enables its disabled citizens to make a contribution in life and to develop their full potential. Tonight, I can truly thank the Lord for making me exactly as I am. A person with Down syndrome. Thank you.
Sherry, come in. You are the first person with Down syndrome in South Africa to be awarded a tertiary qualification. What does that say to you about you?
Sjoe, ek kon nie glo toe ek hierdie die diploma geontvang het nie. Dit was die grootste droom van my hele lewe gewees. Ek wou dit nog altyd graag gedoen het.
And what does it say for people with Down syndrome?
Dat Down syndroom kinders se drome kan waar word.
Or you say, in other words, a disability cannot necessarily kill a person's dream.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself growing up and your dreams.
Okay, my droom is om vir ander mense met intellektuele gestremdhede iets te kan beteken.
And beyond that?
En
You must remember, as I talk to you, Sherry, that you are a very intelligent person. And I'm not saying people out there are less intelligent, but some people are going to want you to say much more than the things that you are saying. So take that further in terms of people with disabilities or people with Down syndrome in particular.
Okay, partykeer jong mamas as hulle Down syndroom kinders verwag, partykeer aborteer hulle die baba. En ek wil vir hulle sê dat hulle nie hulle babas moet weggooi nie. Hulle moet net lief wees vir hulle kind. Dis al wat tel.
You say so?
Yeah.
So you believe that everybody, despite the challenges they might face of not having a mother or a father, but they can still vault for their dreams further.
Yes.
Where to from here, Sherry?
Sjoe, die Here het my tot hier gebring en ek kan vir hom dankie sê dat hy my gemaak het as 'n persoon met Down syndroom.
You're a person of very short words, but your words are as solid as something short and solid can ever be. Do you mind if I ask your mother to join us
Yes.
so that we talk about you?
Yes.
Because more than anything, Sherry, I would love to know not only where you grew up, but what type of a child you were growing up. Because for you to be honored the way you have been by the world, I mean, you are international ambassador of Down syndrome, you are a motivational speaker, you are also beautiful and still very young. I still would love to know, where were you yesterday as a child, and what type of a person were you at home? Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 sisters.
2 sisters.
I'm the
And
oldest.
they do not have Down syndrome.
No. I'm the oldest, and the one after me is in London.
He's in London.
Yes, and my younger sister is from Cape Town.
Okay.
Yes.
And all of them have not been as honored as you have been by the world in terms of your achievements as a person with a disability.
They have also excited for all the wonderful things I do. Hoe kan ek nou sê? Al die wonderlike dinge wat met my gebeur. Hulle is bly vir my met al die lekker dinge wat met my gebeur.
Ah.
Yeah.
So in other words, your bigger and little sisters look at you as inspiration.
Yes.
Beautiful. Ma'am, I'll tell you what John has here. Anyway, I mean, you can even sit on my lap. Yeah. Yeah.
Sit up, mother. I'll sit next to you.
Mrs. Brennett, there's one thing that I've discovered about you, just talking to you over the phone, that you are very protective of her, but at the same time, you have allowed her to be free to explore herself. What does that say to us, and what message would you like to pass to a mother with a child with a disability, and how they should handle them in terms of allowing them to explore their potentials?
I think it's a very important question
Talk
and a
to me.
very important input that you put here, because when you have a child with a disability, you feel that you want to please help this child against the world. You want to protect the child against the world because you're so afraid that this child will get hurt.
Also, there is a bit of fear.
In the
That's-
beginning especially.
Okay.
In the beginning, when you have this little baby and you don't know what's going to happen now, and you're so afraid of raising this child
Yeah.
because you don't know how. And you know it's going to be a little bit different from your other children. And as time went by, I had to let go because of circumstances, because of also her father dying, and I had to raise the children on my own, and I just have 24 hours a day, and I'm working full time. So it's very important that each child should get the same amount of attention. So she couldn't get more attention than her sisters, and they not more than she did. So at this stage, I had to let her fly, and I had to move away. But I think I always have that discrepancy in my heart
Yeah.
between really want to protect her and letting her go. So I know I have to let her go more often. We are starting now. She's flying to Johannesburg in 2 weeks' time to go and do a motivational speech without me.
Yeah.
She's going on her own. Nobody's looking after her. She's just flying on her own, and she's doing it a week later. So I think the most important thing for a parent is to get the balance between protecting and letting
And
go.
when you suddenly discover that you have achieved your balance of letting her go and she's flying as she does, how does it feel as a mother? I wish your father was here.
Yes.
Because then one would have a balanced picture. But then you are
Yes.
here on your own. I just want to know, when she achieves these things that she does, which are much more beyond just a normal child, how does it feel to you?
I feel very small because that's not what I expected.
You feel small?
Yes.
Define
I
small for me.
small in the case that I am so blessed. I do not feel proud. I feel very blessed because anything can happen any time in your life. I don't think we should think we have done well. I think the Lord has done well.
The Lord has done well.
And I really say whatever happened to Shiri when she was born, I prayed that she would mean something one day. Because having a disability does not mean that you sit in the house and everybody must give to you.
Yeah.
Some other time you must give back any person, whether you're disabled or not.
And tell me, man, do you think Sherry has meant something to you?
To me as a person, I cannot tell you how much. I thought that I would teach Cherie when she was little. but it changed around that
Yeah.
she taught me.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks ago, I was at Down Syndrome conference.
Yes, I know, in Cape Town.
That's right.
Yes.
And I sat there and I looked at all these people, and I thanked the Lord that I have a child to be here, to be different, because it's changed my life. I see people with disabilities not as they cannot, but as different.
Yep.
So to me, it's a lot of people, diverse people, whom I got to know. And I don't see them as lower, I just see them as different.
Yep.
And there's so many different people. And
Yeah.
I sat at that conference and I saw different cultures,
Yeah.
different people, different abilities.
Yeah.
And I thank the Lord for opening my eyes to differences.
The world is talking about the 30 minutes presentation you gave at the conference. What possessed you to give the world such beautiful words? What came into you? I mean, everybody on the internet, in disability circles, is talking about that speech. What had come to you? I read
Why?
about the speech at City Press, by the way. This was before the Down syndrome conference in Cape Town, but you were profiled as one of the speakers. But when I read through that, and then I read through other subsequent publications, everybody seemed to think you can blow the world. What's happening here?
Now, my conclusion for my speech is that you must never give up. You must never feel sorry for yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me, Sherry, when your mother talks like this in front of you about you, how do you feel? That smile says everything. When your mother says these words on camera about you, how do you feel?
Ek het nie eintlik woorde nie. Glad nie.
She knows I'm proud of her, and she knows I'm thankful to the Lord for the life that I'm living because of her.
I'll tell you what, because it's the two of you with me here, can I shake your hands in double? Sherry Barnett, we are thankful to have you in KwaZulu-Natal, and I know that when it comes to tonight, you are going to blow everybody away. Ma'am, your daughter is inspiration, and we're thankful to be here with you today. It's Sherry Barnett with her mother. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to both of
Thank
you.
you.
The Tribunes.
Tell us, what would you do if you discovered that the baby that you were hoping for is actually going to be born with a disability? I strongly believe that if you are wondering, you would have to go to Joy Dazel, for she is our mother of child with cerebral palsy. After giving birth to a child with a disability, Mrs. Dazel sought information and subsequently became involved in Community Disability Awareness Initiative.